this up someday when Nansen becomes Bloomberg.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I have connection to. Here we go. I have connection. In fact, I think we might be live already. Let's see. We might have to cut this out after the piece, but let me just try the link and see if we are actually live. Indeed, we are live. So maybe we can just hang out here for a little while and let people join the session. Let's see if anyone has already joined the live stream we are doing. You guys are live. Thank you. Thanks, Eddie, for the heads up. We're testing some new streaming equipment here, and we wanted to figure out if we were actually doing it right. And it turns out we are indeed live. That's good for that confirmation. So we have Eddie here. Who else is actually viewing? Let's see if people are dripping in. Feel free to drop in the chat if you are viewing. It looks like we have 5 concurrent viewers. We're going to give it 2 more minutes before we start the actual programming on this highly advanced, highly sophisticated media channel. Hello, Atmost. Good to have you with us. So we have Eddie, we have Atmost. Who else do we have? 6 concurrent viewers. Hey, Mattia Virelli. How's it going? All right, I'm going to give it 1 more minute. Let's see if anyone else joins the live stream. Hey, William. Hello from the chat. Hello back to the chat. Cool. Atmost is eager to learn about the topic. That's great. It's going to be a fun stream. All right, let's see if a few more people join so we can kick it off at exactly 4:30 Singapore time. Boom. Looks like it's 4:30. Okay, then I think we can kick it off. This is a special edition live stream. We normally do office hours once a week. Last week, we didn't have any office hours for various different reasons. So today, we're actually going to do 2 live streams. We're going to do this one now, and we're also going to do our scheduled office hours later today. But I am pleased to be joined by Young and Ed, who are research analysts at Nansen. And do you guys want to just introduce yourselves? Young, do you want to go first?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Young. I'm a research analyst at Nansen. I like playing with on-chain data, writing research reports as well. And very excited to be with you guys today.
Cool. Ed, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, Ed here. I go by the Twitter handle of OXUFI. Excited to be joining you guys here and sharing with you what we have been looking for the past few weeks. Also interested in learning more about on-chain data and anything that goes into DeFi farming and also NFT gaming.
Great. Cool. These guys are the real alpha hunters. I just LARP on Twitter, of course. I'm happy to have these guys take us through a few other chains, because normally we always look at Ethereum L1, but there's actually a lot of activity when it comes to trading and farming on other chains. And Ed and Young recently did a really good, thorough guide to many other chains for our Namsen Alpha customers. And we figured we could pull out a couple of the chains from that content and do a video that we put on YouTube, and obviously do a live stream on it. So today we're basically going to look at 3 chains that you should know about if you are into yield farming, token trading, NFTs, etc. And the chains are basically Polygon, BSC, and Phantom. So we're going to start with these. If the video is popular, maybe we will end up doing a couple of other chains as well. But without further ado, I think we can kick it off. So who wants to go first? Young, are you doing the first section, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
would
do
you-
BSC.
Yeah, I could. All right.
Okay,
Cool.
over to you.
Then we'll kick it off then. Just give me a moment to share my screen. All right.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So just a quick introduction to what this was. It was kind of like a quick rundown of the landscape on alternative chains made for our alpha customers, because we kind of realized that a lot of people they were staying on Ethereum and they didn't know how to explore alternate chains. Even though there might be like good trading or farming opportunities there, and that's why we came up with this piece. Yeah, but not investment advice. This is all just informational. Do what you want with it. Yeah, and a disclaimer here: this thing kind of came out 2 weeks back, but some of the stuff is still relevant. But of course, some projects would have had little less popularity by now. So Binance Smart Chain, I'm sure everyone here knows about it. It's a standalone L1 chain developed by a team under Binance. It currently has the lowest number of validators of all non-Ethereum chains. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's also like the second highest chain in terms of total value locked. Yes, and I've heard on Up Only that CZ is looking to roll out BSC 2.0, but no idea what that means currently. Okay. So first things first, how do you bridge over to BSC? This part's pretty simple, so I won't stay too long on this topic. If you want to go through a centralized exchange, Binance is the best option. Definitely withdraw in BUSD instead because it's free. BNB costs around 60 cents or 2. FTX only supports BEP2. So if you withdraw them to BEP2, you have to convert them to BEP20. So don't get confused, guys. There are 2 different chains actually. Some people don't know. There's the old Binance chain, which has like BEP2 version of the tokens, and the new BSC, which is BEP20. If you want to go through, do it the decentralized way, you definitely can. They have their own bridge hosted on like a Binance domain, so it's probably the most reliable. It supports most of the assets you would see. And also there's AnySwap. I think so AnySwap was kind of gained quite a lot of attention recently because a lot of BSC exploits used AnySwap to bridge back onto Ethereum and then subsequently to Tornado Cash. So just a quick rundown on the interface. This is what you get in AnySwap. You switch to BSC mainnet, kind of check the tokens you want to bridge through, and then just go ahead. Something to take note here, a word of warning, that how this bridge works is that it kind of has a central chain, which is their own AnySwap kind of chain, which has pegged tokens to both sides of the bridge. So you can think of it as like when you bridge from Ethereum USDT to Binance USDT, you are not going to get like the actual USDT. You're going to get like their form of the pegged USDT, which is any USDT. So you have to swap it over again once you bridge it over. So if you want to look at like the quick rundown on what tokens are supported on the bridge, definitely go to multichain.xyz/explorer. That's where you can find like the whole universe of ways you can bridge through. Pretty cool. Okay, nice. Now we're on to the fun parts. It's deep genning into BSC. Okay. Right. So if you want to do a swap on BSC, basically don't shortchange yourself. Don't kill yourself with slippage. Just use or price impact. Just use an aggregator. Use 1inch, OpenOcean or Paraswap. They're all great. The UI is great. Never had any problems there. And on to the farming part. First, there's Ellipsis Finance, which was the kind of OG fork of Curve.fi on BSC. They airdropped their tokens to all vCurve holders, which gave them a lot of popularity. So quite a good growth hack, I guess. They kind of haven't done anything since then. The UI looks the same. I recently heard they rolled out V2, but like it was kind of just an upgrade of the UI, which was kind of funny. The tree pool APYs, I'm very sure it's lower by now. This was like 2 to 3 weeks back. I think during this period, Polygon's Curve tree pool had around like 20 to 30% APY. So by now, this would probably be like 1/4 of this, I guess. There's also Nerve. So Nerve is much more interesting than Ellipsis. It's a stable swap protocol. It has a roadmap. It has a plan, and it has very strong partnerships with other players in the crypto industry, like Ram DeFi, and I heard they're coming on to Terra and Solana as well. So if you like stable pairs, you like stable pooling, that's your kind of thing, go check Nerve out, right? Lend and borrow markets, money markets. The OG money market of BSC was Venus. It's a kind of like a compound and maker kind of thing where you put in your assets, you deposit your assets, you earn like an APY for supplying the deposits. Borrowers can borrow them. Either that or you can mint their version of the stable coin or their version of DAI. I'm not sure what it's called. But like during the price crash, let me see. Yeah, I think this was around in May, early May. There were a lot of liquidations, which caused a lot of FUD. And you can see from the statistics here, it's really been dropping since then. It's never recovered. Total borrowed volume has never recovered. Liquidated collateral has never recovered. So, so it's just something to take note when you're interacting with that project. Supply APYs for stables as usual. Check it out for yourself right now. The second farm that is interesting, the second project that is kind of popular on BSC is Alpaca Finance. It's a leverage yield farming protocol. So it's very special and the mechanism is very unique. We kind of won't go into the details here, but you just have to know that this sort of project is kind of differentiated. It's not a simple fork, which means which might be a good or bad thing depending on what you look out for in new projects. So you can deposit single-sided assets and lend these to borrowers who open leverage yield farming positions. Borrowers similarly deposit single-sided assets as collateral and they open these positions. The APYs were quite attractive for lenders previously when I see, compared to other traditional money market protocols. So you can see this was like 20% on BNB alone, and it's single-sided BNB. Bear in mind. Yeah, and yeah, this is kind of cute, right? The logo. Okay, moving on from there. Strategy vaults. So if we were to classify like various like DeFi projects into different verticals, like strategy definitely constitutes like it's like the bread and butter of farming, right? Because that's where like they aggregate all the yields. They come up with like new ways to earn APR and optimize your use. I'll bring your attention to Belt Finance. You could check it out. It's created by an official company on LinkedIn, which is quite interesting for something that launches on BSC, and uses quite a complex like strategy that involves AMM rebalancing and liquidity balancing between various protocols. It has a pool called the 4 Belt pool, which basically consists of 4 different stable coins. Last I checked, it was 20%. Not sure what it is now, but that's decent yield on your stables. The other two I would suggest you guys check out is definitely Beefy and AutoFarm. Beefy currently is growing cross-chain, kind of like following Sushi's growth strategy, which means they actually would, be launching like liquidity incentives on those different chains as well. So you could check that out, follow on along, even if you're not on BSC. AutoFarm also kind of going cross-chain. It has one of the third highest TVL market cap ratio. This was during that time. I'm not sure why it is now. It's a fun fact though, that Convex is first on Ethereum, Liquidity is second on Ethereum, and then you have AutoFarm, which is not on Ethereum at all, and highest TVL market cap. Okay, this is the alpha tips part, like short, sweet tips to just help you do a bit more DD before you go ahead. So you go to like I think DBank now supports this, where you can revoke approvals for BSC as well. Back in the day, only this app kind of worked. DApp.com has the best source of information for BSC projects. DeFi Station as well. And there's also there's a special like didn't mean to leak the alpha, but like there's this like stablecoin farm called from Gambit Finance. I think if I remember correctly, it's some sort of synthetic perpetual minting protocol. So like their stablecoin farm like involves minting their native synthetic stablecoin USD, and then you can pool their token to earn like rewards, emission rewards. All right, I guess that's kind of it for BSC. Ed, over to you.
Yeah, let me just jump in between there to say to the guys watching that if you have any questions throughout these presentations, just drop them in the comments, and we'll make sure that there's a bit of time where you can, I'll basically read up the questions to the guys, and they'll be able to answer them. We'll also set up some time at the very end to answer questions as well, so feel free to drop questions in the chat. Okay, Ed, over to you.
Thanks, Young, for that great intro on BSC, as well as some of the alpha leaks. I'll share my screen now. Just give me a moment. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'll briefly walk through and give you a brief overview on Polygon, formerly known as Matic. And same disclaimer as well. This was created a few weeks back, so naturally some of the data and the APRs, APYs quoted are stale by now. So do feel free to check the websites for the updated rates. But in short, what is Polygon and why is it so special? Polygon is basically an Ethereum sidechain. It's a sidechain scaling solution. It's meant to increase the transaction throughput of the Ethereum main chain simply by offloading the computation away from the main chain and onto Polygon itself. And as a result, we see a lot more faster and significantly cheaper transactions for EVM Ethereum-based tokens. And then you also see a lot of Ethereum DeFi blue chip dApps operating on Polygon as well. But there is a trade-off in terms of security and decentralization that we won't go too much in this chat. But some quick stats as of today, I think there's roughly more than 100,000 daily active addresses on Polygon, more than 8 million transactions on Polygon so far. And in terms of TVL, it's around $5 billion US. I think at the peak, probably a month ago, it was at around 8 billion, but it has slightly dropped. And if you are interested, you can actually check our free Polygon dashboards for more stats, which is here, pro.nansen.ai/Polygon. And over here, you get to see like a brief overview on like the daily active addresses, where I quoted the stats from, transactions, the popular projects and entities. So, for example, QuickSwap, Augury, SushiSwap, Aave, 1inch, and so on. And then there's a comparison of Polygon against Ethereum. So if you have time and you want to learn more or get some stats on Polygon, do feel free to check out pro.nansen.ai/Polygon. Moving back to the file. So yeah, going on to how do we bridge over to Polygon? Relatively straightforward since it's an EVM compatible chain. All you need to do is just use your MetaMask wallet. I like to head over to chainlist.org. It's a website done by the Yuan guys, where you can sort of automatically connect your wallet to the different chains out there, and just search for Matic mainnet and then proceed to connect to your wallet to this. Alternatively, if you want to do it manually, you can. So just go to your MetaMask, select settings, networks, and end network, and just fill in the details here. Yep, so I won't bore you with the details there. Moving on to like how do you on-ramp and off-ramp for Polygon? The way that I usually use and I find the most convenient is through an off-chain method via a centralized exchange. So my preferred centralized exchange to do this is through Ascendex. Yeah, for those who are like in the US and whatnot, please just subscribe to a VPN. It helps you bypass all the geo-blocking when it comes to crypto sites.
Maybe you should just interject that that's not financial advice or legal advice or anything like that.
It's not financial advice. It's just a friendly tip. Yeah.
Yeah. But friendly tip. Good.
But yeah, in terms of the steps, it's quite simple. So you just sign up for an Ascendex account, and then within that portal, allows you to deposit your assets. USDC is my preferred stablecoin to on-ramp to Polygon, so you can do that. Do note that like for Ascendex account, you need to wait 24 hours upon creation before you are allowed to use the withdrawal function. When I was doing the article, so yeah, the same for your withdrawals as well. Allows you to select the Matic network for withdrawals. When I was doing the article, there was a fixed 3 USDC fee charge for every USDC withdrawals onto the Matic network. Unfortunately, I think Ascendex sort of increased the fees to about 30 USDC now. So do take note that the fees are subject to changes, and it has increased since in the last few weeks. And they support like USDC, Matic, and route tokens. In terms of the on-chain method, this is for let's say if you just want to try out, you have a small amount of like ETH or stablecoins in your Ethereum address. You can use it. You can transfer on-chain through the Matic POS bridge. It's quite simple. The link is basically wallet.matic.network/bridge, and it takes around 7 to 8 minutes for a deposit transaction to complete, and around 3 hours if you are withdrawing from Polygon back to Ethereum. However, you are subjected to gas fees when you are transferring from Ethereum to Polygon, so it might be slightly more expensive. There is also an option to use the Plasma bridge, but I won't recommend this as it takes roughly around a week for a transaction to complete because of the dispute mechanism that they have. If you are transferring from BSC, you can use a few of the bridges out there like Xpollinate, Superfinance, and so on. Some upcoming bridge solutions that are worth paying attention to is Hop Exchange and Biconomy's Hyphen. So these are basically up-and-coming solutions for people to transfer across different layer ones. Like for Hop Exchange, they use quite a similar mechanism to AnySwap, when they have like a cross-network bridge token that can be moved from roll-ups to roll-ups, whether it's like Optimism or Arbitrum, and then they have like an AMM in between them to swap between each of the bridge. And in terms of transacting on the network, you will need some Matic tokens to transact, but don't need to fear, like you don't need a lot of Matic tokens. I think you just need like 0.01 Matic tokens to allow you to do like 100 transactions. And there are a bunch of free faucets for you to claim like free Matic tokens to pay for gas, like Matic.supply or this macandcheese.finance/Matic Polygon mainnet faucet. It's very useful. On to the degenning part or deep genning part on Polygon. If you want to do a swap, as Yong mentioned, don't cut yourself short. Just use a DEX aggregator. I personally like 1inch a lot for my trades, although there are alternatives out there like Paraswap. Otherwise, if you're a strong supporter of particular DEXs and you want to support your token holdings, for example, if you're a Sushi Swap token holder, then you can use Sushi to do your trades, or QuickSwap for that matter. And these DEXs, they tend to have incentivized liquidity mining pools to look out for. The numbers here are stale and old, so do take in mind that some of these might not be accurate right now. Like Sushi Swap, they used to have like do yield for the Wrap ETH Alchemix pair. And another trading protocol or app that is popular in Polygon is Slingshot. And if you want to put your stablecoins to work, there are a number of stablecoin protocols, just like on Ethereum. I like to view it in the the left curve, mid curve, right curve sort of classification. So when it comes to like the boomer pool, you have like Curve, which is basically a blue chip DeFi protocol that we all know on Ethereum, considered one of the more safer pools on Polygon. And they have you are able to earn bonus rewards in Matic tokens, especially if you're pulling in the Aave pool. So the Aave pool, which is the tree pool, it's currently earning around like 8% APY. It used to be as high as 20% 2 weeks back when we were doing this workshop with our alpha guys, but the yields have compressed lately. And with more news of, like, for example, like Coinbase or Compound offering like insties, access to all this USDC stuff, I might expect the use to be more compressed going forward. A slightly more degen stablecoin protocol is QiDAO. So it's like a MakerDAO fork on Polygon. They have a Matic-backed stablecoin called Mai. It used to be called MeMatic, but they recently rebranded. And basically, it's the same mechanism where it's you have fully collateralized stablecoin backed by Matic holdings, and you have a minimum collateral ratio of 150%. And right now, the Mai USDC stable pair currently earns you around 30% APY in the Qi governance token rewards. And another fairly new, slightly more degen pool is Polyquity, which is like a Liquidity.fi fork on Polygon. Uses Matic as well for collateral for its troves to mean like a stable coin called PUSD. So do check that out. The yields, I think, might have dropped down a lot. Like when it first started, it was in the high, it was in the triple digits, and then now it's like probably like 20-30%. For money markets, the usual names appear on Polygon as well. You have Aave, and then you have like Sushi's Kashi on it. So Aave, they sort of kickstarted the Polygon craze when they launched like their liquidity mining program in mid-April. They had like a 40 million liquidity mining scheme together with the Polygon guys, where they basically rewarded liquidity miners with extra red Matic tokens. Unfortunately, the phase 1 of that program ended 2 weeks back. So half of the rewards have already been distributed, and the remaining program will end April next year. So that's why yields have also dropped a lot. And Kashi as well. Kashi is quite, the Sushi Swap's vendor box is quite interesting, especially if you want to do margin trading or lending as well. And for strategy vaults, your yield aggregators, Beefy Finance is one that has been quite popular on BSC, and it's also on Polygon. So enables you to have like auto compounding on some of the existing liquidity pools on like Sushi, QuickSwap, and whatnot. Olo Farm is another one as well, but you get to earn potentially double rewards in red Matic tokens and PO. And there is StakeDAO for those who want a more passive way of earning yield, you can just take into their pool, and the yields have dropped a lot by now, but you get to earn STT tokens on top of that. But do take note that most of these yield aggregators, they do tend to charge you like a fee, whether it's withdrawal, deposit, or performance fees. Do take note of that before you aid into a random pool. In terms of alpha tips, I think for many of the degen farmers, the Rug Doctor comes up with very useful and tangible so-called mini, like, or not audit reports, but more like mini commentary for degen farmers before they aid into a particular unknown pool. So do go onto rugdoc, rugdoc.io. It's a go-to place for audit or safety ratings of less well-known farms or newer projects. In terms of having an overview of the different projects on the Polygon ecosystem, you can check out awesomepolygon.com and DeFi Prime as well. Those are very good resource. So yeah, that's the sort of like a short run through of how to, on-ramp and off-ramp from Polygon, and how do you conduct activities and yield farm on Polygon itself.
That's great, Ed. Thank you. There was a question here about games. So are there good games or NFTs on BSC or on Polygon? You guys aware of any projects, like NFT-based projects or gaming projects?
For BSC, I am not too familiar with the ecosystem, but to my knowledge, I don't think there is like a, what do you call it, like a landmark or AAA sort of like gaming title on BSC itself. Most of it is you can say, I won't quite gimmicky, but the graphics are what you would see in like games that came out maybe 20-30 years ago, like really like Nintendo, like your Game Boy style of games, where like is it like a Mario inspired game and whatnot. So there are some there that I'm not familiar with, but on that maybe Yong might know. But for Polygon, actually a lot of the major or games, they actually operate on Polygon. So for example, like Ember Sword, the ecosystem, the NFT marketplace, they're all based on Polygon itself. Other games that I know are so Ember Sword. That's the one that comes to mind. There are a few as well, but
how about NFT platforms? I think does OpenSea have like a Polygon version of itself, or perhaps I should know this myself.
Yep, they do. So OpenSea is on Polygon as well.
Yeah, not on BSC, I guess, right?
I don't think so, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
there hasn't been like a equivalent kind of like well used and commonly recognized like NFT exchange platform for BSC. Something that might be interesting that I saw a couple of days back was this project called Clam Island. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. Clam Island. So they were basically doing some sort of like a gamified yield farming, which was pretty interesting. I never really saw that before. So I was just looking at like the graphics. You're basically like literally a farmer in the metaverse, like farming your yields, which is pretty interesting.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we can move on to the last chain, Phantom, right? Who's doing Phantom?
Maybe I can share the screen, and I'll introduce Phantom, and we can sort of have a free-flowing dialogue on the projects.
Sounds good.
Okay, give me a sec. You see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So for Phantom, you can, to give you a brief to everyone, like a brief introduction of what Phantom is. It's essentially like a fast, high throughput, like a proof of stake smart contract platform for dApps, and it's like a separate layer one compared to like Polygon, which is like a sidechain, or BSC for that matter. It's it uses like a thing called like asynchronous networks for its consensus mechanism. So this allows the nodes to sort of process transactions and form blocks independently. So there is no like block time and whatnot. Interestingly, you can Phantom's mainnet, which is called Opera, is EVM compatible, and it provides like the full smart contract support through Solidity. So you do see some familiar names from Ethereum porting over to Phantom as well. Back when we were doing this, the DeFi TVL, I think it was 21st of June, was around 140 million on Phantom. So still fairly new, but I wouldn't say it's very immature. It has gotten at least some sort of traction to reach to that 100 million milestone. The top three dApps by TVL are basically your DEXs. There's SpookySwap, then there's SpiritSwap, and the third one is Curfi. So the two like Phantom native DEXs would be SpookySwap and SpiritSwap. And then Curfi, they're on Phantom as well. In terms of bridging over to Phantom, because it's the Opera itself is EVM compatible, it's very similar to porting over from Polygon. So just use your MetaMask wallet on Phantom. Head over to chainlist.org again, and then search for Phantom FTM in the search bar, and then you can add the Phantom Opera address to your MetaMask. Otherwise, you can do it manually. The details are over here, basically down here. You can actually find it on the documentation that the Phantom Foundation has on its website. And in terms of doing transactions on Opera, just like how you need Matic tokens to operate on Polygon, you will need native Phantom FTM tokens in your wallet to transact on Opera. And the gas fees are cheap. So one Phantom token should be able to last you at least 10 or 20 transactions, if I'm not mistaken. And a few ways to get, if you don't want to spend any initial outlay to get the Phantom gas tokens, the official Phantom Foundation Discord has a tip bot that you can tip your address with, I think 0.027 Phantom tokens, and you are eligible to claim that every 24 hours. The Discord link can be found through the Phantom Foundation website, but so I wouldn't read it out, but you can just Google Phantom Foundation and then search for the Discord channel. And then once you're inside, you just find the tip bot, just send them a DM with !help, and the Phantom tip bot will reply to your DM with a list of commands, and you just send the !faucet to request for the gas tokens. And then once it replies, you just need to type the !withdraw and then insert your Phantom address, your wallet address, and you should be able to get that Phantom gas tokens in a few minutes, quite quickly. Alternatively, there is a community group called the Phantom Community Alerts. So do check them out on the Twitter, Phantom Community Alerts, and they're quite helpful. They have like a Phantom Alerts guest form where they will give new address or new users free Phantom tokens to use as guests, but you just need to fill a Google form, and you need to insert your wallet address, email address, and your Twitter handle. So if you don't want to get doxed or you're worried about OPSEC, then just go with the Phantom tip bot. In terms of transferring assets off chain, there are only a handful of centralized exchanges right now that offer FTM native token withdrawals or deposits, like the FTM token itself. Like Binance allows you to purchase Phantom and withdraw onto the Phantom chain. They charge like 0.01 Phantom fee. I think Gemini is like the first US exchange to list Phantom. So for those US audience out there, you can check out Gemini. And I think Bitfinex is coming out with a listing of Phantom as well. So currently the easiest way to purchase Phantom tokens and on-ramp onto the mainnet is through Binance. And likewise, if you want to off-ramp, you have to convert, unfortunately, your tokens onto. If you want to off-ramp through a centralized exchange, you need to convert your tokens into Phantom itself, and then deposit into your Binance account. But fret not, if you want to do it the decentralized way on chain, there is. Apologies for the background noise, but yeah, but basically you can do it quite easily. You can bridge your ERC20 tokens from Ethereum onto the Phantom mainnet using multichain.xyz, built by Jens Andre, which utilizes AnySwap smart contract. And a fun fact is that Andre himself is an advisor to the Phantom ecosystem, so there is some sort of, I won't call it dependence, but there is heavy involvement from the Yuan guys in Phantom itself. So when a token is deposited from Ethereum itself, the corresponding token is then also minted on the Phantom network on a 1-to-1 ratio. And then when you transfer the token from Phantom back to Ethereum, the token that's on the Phantom network will be burned instead. So if you want to avoid any liquidity issues, please use like USDC or Wrap ETH instead of Phantom, because you can't burn like Phantom tokens on Ethereum itself, and it's a fixed amount of supply, right? A simple guide on how to bridge from Ethereum to Phantom, just go to multichain.xyz. It's quite intuitive. There will be a swap option that you can swap your, say, USDC on Ethereum to USDC on Phantom. You can actually also bridge your BNB token from BSC onto Phantom using AnySwap. And there's also another way through the Phantom F wallet, but just stick to multichain.xyz. It's much more easier and straightforward. And moving on to deep genning into Phantom Opera. If you want to stake your Phantom tokens, you will need to create a Phantom F wallet or connect your MetaMask wallet to the Phantom F wallet app. And the website is pwawallet.phantom.network. And what it allows you to do is you can stake your Phantom tokens to secure the POS network, and it allows you to earn Phantom rewards. There is, however, a minimum of 14 days lockup period. And one interesting note is that the longer you lock up your stake Phantom tokens, the higher the APR. When I last checked, the minimum 14-day lockup earns you around 3.5% APR, while the maximum 1-year lockup earns you around 10 to 11%. You can find out more details on Phantom.Foundation. And do take note that the validators, they actually do take like a 15% commission from your rewards. You can actually explore this through explore.phantom.network/staking. And if you want to do a swap, there's a number of well-established DeFi blue chips protocol that have ported over to Phantom. For example, like SushiSwap is on Phantom as well, so you can do your basic swaps there. Curve is also on Phantom, and if you want to swap your stable coins, or if you want to do some stablecoin farming, you can go onto there. They have incentivized CRV token rewards. I think the APYs have dropped a bit, but it should be in the low teens, like 10 to 12%. Other DEXs that are popular, as mentioned, SpookySwap is one that is native to Phantom and quite popular. SpiritSwap as well, and there's this one called HyperSwap that I think started out on BSC and is now on Phantom as well. Yeah, the yields, if you want to do some LP mining, will be higher on these Phantom native DEXs. So SpookySwap and SpiritSwap tends to pay out more higher in yields and rewards than like your SushiSwap pools. So SpookySwap, you earn around 20 basis points in swapping fees, and the staking is completely free. For SpiritSwap, you earn around 25 basis points in swapping fees, However, do take note that there is a 1% deposit fee for farms. Hyperswap slightly lower, 15 bips swapping fee, and there's also a 1% deposit fee for LP staking. So always check through and make sure that you know whether if you're gonna farm on a certain protocol, check whether like they have deposit or withdrawal fees before you actually go into it. And the Rug Doctor is a good way to check that. In terms of money markets, there isn't really an established one at the moment. The only one that's available and functional is Cream. So as I said, like Andre is quite active on Phantom, so you see all his all the dApps that are linked to his Yearn ecosystem on Phantom. So like Cream is there. It's the largest as well, and because it's the only one there so far that works. TVL was like 14 to 15 million last time I checked, so still very small. And if you want to farm the same, like Beefy Finance, the same sort of like multi-chain yield aggregators are also on Phantom. That helps you like auto compound your rewards. Popsicle Finance is also another cross-chain like yield enhancement platform to look out for, but they only have like 2 active pools on Phantom. The ICE Phantom LP pools on Sushi and on Spirit Swap. Oh, sorry, Spooky Swap. Apologies. Other smaller like yield aggregators you can check out is Mushroom Finance. This one has been on Ethereum for quite some time. They offer a couple of vaults for Spirit Swap and Spooky Swap LPs, and if you stake the vault tokens into the farm, you get to earn additional like Mushroom governance tokens, and there is like a 30% performance fee. And I think there has been some news surrounding Mushroom Finance, but I haven't really taken a look into it lately. Apparently, like some of the DEXs have unlisted their Mushroom LP token pair from the farms, from the pool itself, but I need to double check that. And another thing, if you want to play the Algo stablecoin game, if you want to play that sort of like casino, you can not casino, sorry. If you want to try out your luck in this, you can check out Toon Finance. So this is like the first like Algo stablecoin on Phantom Opera, and they follow like a basis cash model where you have the seigniorage system. And the last time I checked, the TVL was 5 million. So for any degens out there that wanna try out your luck on this, do check out Toon Finance. In terms of alpha tips, I usually check like vfat.tools, not just for Phantom, but for most chains in general. So yeah, shout out to vfat, who's our fellow alpha member. Allows you to easily check for farms and their APYs on the different chains. Follow Phantom alerts, so FTM alerts on their Twitter account. They're quite active, and their Discord as well. They have very regular AMAs with the teams they are building on Phantom itself, and they have all sorts of news and updates, and very active. So if you have any questions, do hop into their Discord and ask. So yeah, that's a brief overview of Phantom.
That's great. Excellent, Ed. Thank you. So there's one question here, which was, what influences your decision personally to choose a chain to do DeFi on? So do you want to go first, Ed, and maybe Young can answer afterwards?
Yeah, I guess for me it's quite a personal question because it really depends on your risk tolerance or your preferred like preference when it comes to whether are you like more of like an Ethereum, or are you like someone who doesn't really care about being on a single chain and you don't mind trying out multiple chains, right? For me at least, I fall in the camp of believing that there's going to be a multi-chain universe, and each chain will have different functions. But the number one thing that I'll look into is how easy it is for me to on-ramp and off-ramp. If I can't do that easily, if I can't exit or like enter or exit my like my stable coins on my portfolio, then I won't even consider the chain itself. So whether there is like either a centralized on-ramp or off-ramp, or a decentralized way like a bridge on chain. Then second is it's more related to the dApps that are available out there. I think depending on how I guess how well these different chains execute their business development and marketing efforts. For example, I would say the guys at Polygon have done a tremendous work at promoting their chain with all these incentivized liquidity mining programs. So naturally, if you're in the hunt for yields, you tend to go to the places that offer the highest returns. So Polygon is like an example of that, especially during like mid-April and in May. And lastly, it's I don't know how much you consider like how secure do you think the network is. I think that's maybe might be on the bottom of the list for most people, but for me at least, like I do consider this sort of risk when if I'm like moving a big chunk of my portfolio onto a certain chain. But yeah, it's just like TVL, how developed it is, and if the yields or returns are high there. Sometimes like for example, like some blockchains like Celo might have a very small TVL, and that might indicate that it's very early. But then if you look at the yields there is no liquidity mining programs. There's not a lot of support. There's not a lot of applications there. And if you are a user that doesn't want to be that pioneering batch, then you might have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Young, in your case, what influences your decision to choose a chain to do DeFi on?
I think there isn't really like a common metric across all. It's more of like a individual decision for each chain. Like I used a bit of Solana as well, like to try it out, and I liked the user experience. I liked how it was different from Ethereum. I liked how like you didn't have to add a token every single time you received it in your wallet. I liked how the go-to DEX had an order book like naturally. It wasn't even a swap. It wasn't even a swap model like that Serum, which was all pretty nice to explore. So I would say like combination of multiple factors. First is definitely, as Ed said, the ease of getting on there. So if like there's a readily made available bridge, isn't too technical to bridge over, there are withdrawals supported from centralized exchange, you also kind of know that everyone's going to go in that direction as well. And so if you're slightly like if you're slightly more into the space than others, then you have an informational advantage, and you want to get on there first, of course. Yeah, and definitely there's on Ed's point on security, like definitely there's that concern. I'm not like I'm not too like deep into the technicalities of the various blockchains, but it's good to bear in mind at times. But in general, it's not something that will concern me too much unless I'm staying on it in the for a really long time, like I don't know, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, makes sense. So it sounds like BSC and Polygon to some extent are kind of like playing in the same, they're kind of almost competing against each other, but something like Phantom feels more like niche or more like degen or more for like the experts. Like, is that a fair observation? Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. I forgot to mention one thing as well. Like it's also like transaction fees are also a key factor for most people when they decide on where to transact or which chain to go on to. I think for BSC and Polygon, I think they've done a great job in allowing people to transact at lower cost without having to put out too much per transaction. And maybe it could be due to the fact that there is a lot more like on-ramp or off-ramp support for these chains, especially for like BSC, right? You have Binance behind it. For like Phantom itself, yeah, it does. I do agree with that sentiment that it does feel a little bit more for people who are already DeFi native or familiar with DeFi itself. So you don't see a lot of newcomers coming into Phantom first. They will either go through like BSC, maybe Polygon, and maybe in the past it could have been Ethereum. But then yeah, definitely not Phantom first.
I also wonder if there's an element of kind of like, to some extent, trading is kind of zero sum. So you're trading against other participants in those ecosystems. So if you jump into something like Phantom, maybe you face different competition, but lower liquidity and lower yields to some extent, versus something else that's heavily incentivized with lots of money, has lots of people bringing in capital from its outside, but you don't have the same degree of sophistication across all the users. Like, do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a concern. You should factor that into your decision, especially relative to your own capital size and stuff. But like the great thing about crypto is that it's there are big opportunities that get taken up by people with like a lot of capital, but there are also small opportunities that would be very large, like relative to your own capital. But those people with big capital can't go into, because like liquidity is low, or they would literally eat up the whole pool, something like that. That's great.
Good point. So there's one more question here. Do you have the option to purchase any insurance for any of these chains if deposits are sizable, or do you just ape and pray?
I don't think there's any insurance protocol on Polygon. I'm not sure about BSC. I think most of the insurance dApps are on Ethereum, or the ones that at least I'm familiar with. So if you want to go on to like your Polygon or other chains like Phantom, then it's really just not ape and pray. So you should at least do some research, reading through the documentation, trying to or like go onto their GitHub to see how active they are, just to sort of gauge like how much effort they have done in terms of their documentation. And then you can go on to resources like free resources like Rugdoc. They're quite prolific in the number of reviews that they churn out for different chains. So do check out their website, Rugdoc, rugdoc.io, before you do any of that. And
Yeah, I think another way to tackle kind of a similar problem to what the insurance products are solving is also to get more information, right, about about the activity. And I have to say, as someone who's used Ethereum Layer 1 a lot, when I started using Polygon, I don't say this just because we are Nansen, the company, but I really missed using Nansen. Like I couldn't see who else was like in the same yield farms. I couldn't see like who like is a smart money active in these different things. So we're happy that we're going to roll out Polygon support very, very soon, probably this week to alpha customers, and in not very long, hopefully like let's say 2 weeks or something like that, to all users. And we're also working on BSC support, so that's going to be rolled out at some point during the summer. Phantom, we're not 100% decided yet, but we have spoken to the team and we might add support for that as well. So if anyone's interested in getting Phantom support in Nansen, then definitely let us know. All right. You guys have any points you want to cover before we wrap the session up?
Nope, I think I'm cool. Yeah.
All right. Then thanks very much, Young and Ed, for presenting BSC, Polygon, and Phantom. Definitely very informative. I hope we can do more of these sessions to basically give introductions to other ecosystems than only Ethereum, which has been our main focus, of course, with Nansen. But now we're also expanding out to other L2s, other side chains, and other blockchains. So thanks to everyone for joining us today. And if you are around in a couple of hours, we're going to do our weekly office hours as well. So that's going to be myself and Daniel. So hope to see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.